How do you regulate your emotions? Last week we did a live about the definition of emotions. Before knowing how to regulate your emotions, it's key to understand what does it mean, emotion. And what we have mentioned last week is that emotions are information. When you experience an emotion, bad or positive or negative emotion, it's an information. It's here to teach you something about you or about people with whom you are interacting, or about the environment in which you are at the moment. So emotion is information. And today we continue to talk about emotional intelligence, how we regulate our emotion, and what are the techniques that can help us to regulate our emotions. And for the third time, I bring Yassine Darkaoui, the CEO and founder of YouMind. I put the link in the description. You can connect with him, look what he is doing. And he is specialized in creating personalized brain entrainment protocols. So connect with him on LinkedIn. He is very active. And please, if you are joining us live, let us know in the chat where are you from, and ask your questions. If you have questions, you can write them in the chat section. So let's welcome Yassine Darkaoui. Welcome, Yassine.
Welcome back. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. A pleasure seeing you again. Good evening. Or good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon for me, and good. It's evening where you are. You are in Bali, so it's 10 p.m. Here it's 4 p.m. I'm in Paris. You see how internet can connect us from the other side of the world. It's amazing.
Like Bali, this is my Balinese office. And from the roof and from the door, Balinese
It's
style.
beautiful. I noticed the.
Yeah, so this is my working space, and the house is over there, a few minutes away from here. And,
it's beautiful.
It's very convenient. I don't need to drive or go like cross long distances to get to work.
It's the dream destination for many to be in Bali.
Oh, yeah, hopefully see you this year here. Huh? So if you're planning to come here, I will help you with everything you need. Okay, I know pretty well. Okay. I have been here for 4 years, so I will give you good advice.
Thank you. So, thank you. We will continue our discussion about emotion. We did live last week. For those who did not watch live, you can go and watch live, because with Yassine, we understood that emotions as information. And when we are experiencing an emotion, they are here to teach us something about us or about the experience we are living. So today we continue to talk about emotions, and I really want to know what Yassine thinks about how to increase our emotional intelligence, because it's so important for our daily life. And after we can continue to talk about, he will share something about his work and how he can help you regulate your emotions with his work. And also, he can share some practical techniques that we can do to regulate our emotions.
One quick question. Is this light okay? Look, I have a little light here. Is it okay? Does it bother you?
Yes, yeah, everything is okay. You are okay.
Okay, so let's talk about emotional intelligence. I suggest that we can start by defining what is emotional intelligence.
Yeah,
Okay,
go
ready?
ahead. You can.
Okay, so emotional intelligence could be defined as the capacity to recognize, understand, regulate, and use our emotions. And I believe that we can break it down into 5 different components, 5 different segments. The first one I'd like to talk about is self-awareness. So self-awareness is the capacity, is being able to understand my feelings and to understand how my feelings, my emotions are linked to my thoughts and how they will act on the way I behave. So the point number one can be, in this definition, can be self-awareness. Any question about it?
No,
We can talk about
but
to
for my,
increase. Okay, so
yeah,
let's go through the I mean the how to frame the definition, and then we can dive into every single point. The second one is self-regulation. So self-regulation is managing our emotions, meaning that it's not about suppressing. It's not, I'm not talking about suppressing emotions, but about how to feel our emotions without being victims of that. Like if I'm sad or angry, how to feel it without acting on it. That's self-regulation. So first, self-awareness, self-regulation, and then there is another point is motivation. You know, like when we say, like the word emotion is like energy in motion. So how to use my emotions to motivate myself to do things in life. I would like to give you an example. For example, like let's say I feel anxious about a talk I will have, or about the meeting. So that anxiety can be, I can become victim of that anxiety, or I can become and stay in my place and say, okay, I'm not going to do it, or use that anxiety to learn more about the topic, to get ready in a better way for what's coming next. And then there is another point, which is empathy. Empathy is being able to recognize the emotions in the one I have in front of me.
of
That's
others.
in its form of intelligence, especially when I deal with a different gender or someone from a different culture. It becomes very difficult. You know, I found it very difficult when I came to Asia in 2011 to understand people around me, different language, different ways of moving, different ways of experiencing life. So
Totally
empathy
different.
to do, yeah, it was really challenging because I landed in Thailand, where every single
Mm.
thing you imagine is different. The smells, the food, religion, social norms. So developing empathy in that environment is very challenging, but it comes always to the same point: understanding the culture, a bit of the language, and doing like spending some energy and time trying to understand what they want to say. Now, and it comes also, is also on understanding the history of that place. Anyway, so that's empathy. And then in social intelligence, we have something that's called social skills. So a social skill is communication, problem solving, you know, like finding a way to solve problems in like in the best way. What else? Like starting and maintaining healthy relationships. So that was the last point. So if I resume it, it would be something like self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. this is what these are the layers of emotional intelligence.
Yeah, so if I understand correctly, what you have shared is that, for example, when I'm experiencing some kind of emotions, first I feel them, I acknowledge them, I'm aware about what is happening, my feelings, and also this is self-awareness, and after that I start to self-regulate, to regulate myself. So how can I regulate myself?
Hey, can you hear that? So it's a gecko. Just, I don't know if you can hear it. It's very loud. So the question is how you can self-regulate. So
Yeah,
self-awareness. Okay. The very first thing, so about emotions, what happens is that the emotions are not a reflection of reality. So if I feel something, when I feel the emotion is my reaction to what's happening inside of me or outside of me. Okay. But it's not a direct reflection of what's really happening in reality. It's very personal. And so my philosophy is that we should not rely on emotions to take decisions. It's really difficult for people to understand or accept this concept that emotions tell you about your reaction, will tell me about my reaction to something happening outside or inside of me. Okay, about my reaction, but they don't tell me about that thing that is happening in reality. So I should not follow them to, like, I should not take actions based on that. And regulation is when first I feel my emotion, it can be anything, and that's it. If I wanna, regulation is looking at the best way to use that emotion, because an emotion is a signal. It tells you something about your reaction. So it can tell
yeah,
me that maybe this situation is threatening for me. And then I must analyze, is the threat, is the danger real, or is it like in my imagination? So that's the very important, the information emotions can tell me about myself. They can help me, like mapping. They can help me understand myself. But then if I want to
yeah,
make a decision, I have to do calculations, like weighting different outcomes, looking at what I have in here, how can I use what I have in the now, and what is my goal. So emotion, we feel it. It tells us a lot about how we are reacting to something, but then the final decision has to be done through reason.
yes, yeah, I thank you. You mentioned that, for example, the excitement, the anxiety about going live, or we can talk about the excitement as well. Is excitement and anxiety produce the same effect, the same feeling, the same
But anxiety, excitement,
excitement?
no, anxiety is when there is a danger. If okay, there is a danger, and that danger tells you to do something, maybe like stay home, don't go out, or don't talk, or find an excuse. Excitement, usually I think in English, when we say excitement, it's more about something positive. Oh, I want to do it, like you are boiling from inside, you want to take action. But anxiety is when we perceive a danger, and that's the thing
Yeah,
here, is that is the
yeah, there is
danger
positive.
real danger
Yeah,
or not.
yeah, of course, it's positive and negative emotions, but the idea is, are these feelings create the same chemistry in our body, how we react? Of course, we can react differently because the emotions are different. But I'm talking about our brain, how our brain react when there is this kind of emotions.
You meaning about anxiety?
Yes, let's talk about it.
Yeah, because every single emotion will do something different, but I mean, the subject is really broad. What I mean about anxiety is that, look, the brain doesn't make a difference between what is really and what comes from imagination. That's something really fascinating about us conscious beings. The scenario I'm running in my mind is perceived as being real, and it doesn't matter what scenario. So if I imagine that something is dangerous, even if it's not, that becomes the experience. The body will react. The body will react like if your life is being threatened. But last week we talked about different parts of the brain, how they are connected. So we have the
Yeah.
reptilian brain, you have the limbic system, and then you have the where consciousness kind of is located. So if I rely on my primitive brain, I don't go further. I feel anxiety, I see it as real, and my brain
Mhm.
sends the signal, protect yourself. But then that's when I have to pause and use my I would say cortex.
Prefrontal.
Yeah, cortex, and use my consciousness and use my judgment and become aware about, okay, let's analyze this situation. How do we analyze it? We analyze it using logic. You use like statistics if you want to understand what if anxiety is based on something real or not, because the brain doesn't make the difference. Danger is a danger. Someone who's scared of public speaking will see that as a death threat. Even if you
Mm,
tell her, hey, don't worry, there is no danger, people are not going to kill you or whatever. But the brain doesn't make the difference. And the reaction in your body is like if the danger was real. So that's when we have to use the new brain, our capacity to look at that, play with it like in 3D. What is the real danger in here? At the end, the
mm,
worst scenario for a human being, for a living being, is dying. Will I die
mm,
or get injured if I go to that meeting, for example? Okay,
mm,
which is not easy to do. Someone who has been following his emotions most of his life would find this exercise just impossible to achieve.
mm,
But training, we can do that. With training, we can put more light on our emotions and start to distance from them and be able to look at them as, okay, this feeling says this, but is it real or not? Let's analyze it.
mm,
Logic, with numbers, with just rational thinking. So anxiety will trigger a response that there is a danger for your life. And the brain doesn't make a difference between what is real and what is not real. That's why we feel it in the body, we feel it in every single cell of our body, like if it was real. But that's when we have to use our consciousness and analyze it.
Get it. Do you think that emotions can lead to some behaviors?
Like you said, lead.
Yeah, for example, someone who, and the wellness all seasons is all about well-being. And from my some feedback from my clients and other interviews, uh, w- I noticed that there are some women who deals with some addictions, for example, addiction to food or emotional eating, or these are some behaviors that can impact our well-being. So these behaviors are the result of certain emotion or just the circumstances.
Well, circumstances are generating emotions, and emotions generate actions. And here you have basically two models. One model is I feel, I act.
Mm,
Okay, someone who, for example, has an addiction, it can be food, is someone who feels stress or anxiety. And the only way to counter that is by switching to food. Okay,
mm,
that's a big topic, but this response is purely emotional. Now, the alternative is not something that we can use into like just like this. The very first step I would say is, let's say that if someone We give the example of someone who eats, someone who cannot control, a lady who cannot control herself, and she eats too much and bad, and or any form of addiction. Any form of addiction is because I'm trying to resume it because the topic is complex, big, but there are easy ways sometimes to experience big improvements. The very first thing is feel your emotions. That would be my advice. What is this emotion that is taking me to behave in this way? Because most of the time, someone who takes action based on emotions are not even aware of what is that emotion exactly. Like, look, I used to have problems with addiction. The very first thing I experienced every single morning for 10 years was extreme levels of anxiety. I mean, extreme, with cramps. But in 10 years, I never took the time to sit with my anxiety and say, okay, let's see. I want to feel you. I want to know what's the message. So that anxiety was telling me about my reaction in my subconscious mind to my thinking processes. If I want to become aware of that, I have to pause. So my advice is, if you, lady, the one watching us, you have a problem with addiction, what you can do, sorry, I will just pause this. What you can do is, even for 5 minutes, sit with that emotion. 5 minutes. Tomorrow, sit 6 minutes. Feel it and play with it in your mind. Then take action. With the time, what we realize is that we start to distance from that emotion. That's what happens when we observe it. When we give it time, the chance to be observed, we can distance ourselves and step by step take back control. But first, feel it, observe it, and don't act immediately. Give it some time.
Yeah. So when you talk about action, this can lead us to talk about some practical techniques, some practical practice that we can do. So when you take action, what do you do?
No, this is a technique. The very first step is to sit with that stress or anxiety or negative emotion. Because what happens is, as soon as a human being experiences discomfort, the humans take immediate action. I feel stress, I smoke a cigarette, or I drink a beer, or I do this, or I call my friend. No, sit with that negative emotion. It's not even negative. Negative, when I say negative emotion, is again myself giving a label. Emotions are not negative or positive. It's just information. It's information telling me something about how I look at life. And again, the life is not only outside happening, we have also the inside. So the big problem is self-awareness. Human beings don't sit in silence to observe their mental processes. So this is my advice. It's important to sit, observe these emotions, see when they come. Like anxiety is not like random. There are very precise rules. We are a very sophisticated biocomputer. So if I have anxiety, let's see what time of the day I feel it. Let's see about the intensity. Let's analyze the triggers. What happened inside or outside that created that anxiety and then that action. And I start mapping, analyzing myself. This is self-awareness. So the
Yeah.
very first to do is sit and feel it and then take action. But sit first for a few minutes. That will help. And nothing is negative. When we say negative, is my consciousness that puts a label. This is negative. But the only thing my subconscious mind wanna do is to protect me. So if I feel anxiety, that's a protection. It's a mechanism that is there to protect me, not to hurt me. There are no monsters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my advice. We have to be careful with how we name things, how we look at them, because we
Of
create
course.
more problems than what is really happening.
Of course, and for those who are watching or they can watch the replay, I think that self awareness is key about in any situation we can sit with ourselves and acknowledge, be aware about the situation, the feeling, the emotions we are experiencing, etc. And you are right, taking action is key. And there are some techniques that we can do. I think the first thing that can help us is sit with ourselves and do some deep breathing. Because when we breathe deeply, we connect with self and we start to come back our initial situation. The second thing I think is look to the trigger. What is the trigger? And write it down, because sometimes journaling as well about our experiences, our emotions can help us to put down what is going on and find solution. So breathing, deep breathing, journaling, mindfulness. Mindfulness meditation are all these things can help us understand what we are experiencing, and when we recognize that bring these emotions, we can regulate ourselves, our emotions, and move on. Because the idea is not to stay there. You want to change your state. You want to change the outcome of either your relationships with food or with others or with your environment. You acknowledge you are aware about it, you understand the trigger, and you take action by doing things that can help you um, regulate your emotions and change your situation. Uh, do you think that meditation can help people to reach this goal, this
Yes, yes, meditation. There are different kind of meditations, and well, one of the foundations of your mind is meditation, and we do that with frequencies, so we can target very specific kind of meditations, very specific, like laser focused states. And with meditation, we can silence the mind, because one of the characteristics of the mind is blah 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 blah. You know, all day long we have
it's
voices, we
working
have.
all the time?
Right, it doesn't stop. So imagine, anyone who's dealing with all of this chit chat going on for 24 hours, is a question I'm asking anyone watching this. Imagine one day in your life where it's just silence inside, pure silence, and you can choose what you want to think about.
Mm,
That's when life becomes a beautiful process. Is when in my mind when I can silence my mind and choose exactly what I want to focus on. That's when we get back our power to create, our power to decide. That's where we become happy, because most of our problems come from these fictive scenarios running in our mind all the time. And where does that come from? It comes from the nervous system,
mm,
reacting to the past, the now, and expectations, the future. The nervous system doesn't sleep. It's always analyzing scenarios. So the nervous system is like a crazy horse, very
mm.
powerful, but if we don't train it, instead of a blessing, it becomes a source of troubles in life. And that's, and that's why, and it's sad to see that most human beings will never develop their potential. They will get stuck in jobs they don't like. They will get stuck in relationships they don't fully understand and love, and so on. And all of that is because they are victims of this blah, 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 these scenarios that they cannot control. So meditation can help shut down all of those processes. meditation.
Shut down. So this is your last. What is your last word? Last thing you wanted to share, because we will close this live in 1 minute. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. The last thing I would say is remember that your emotions don't tell you about what's happening outside of you. They tell you about your reaction to what is in your subconscious or outside. They tell about that reaction, but they don't tell you about the real world. So if someone is experiencing a negative emotion, it doesn't mean that the world is going to collapse. It tells you
it's
just about
inside.
how you are reacting in your mind. So learn how to sit with that, be brave. It's all in your mind. Yeah, I know that it sounds like someone who's anxious will not I mean, it sounds like a nonsense, but sit with it, allow it to express itself. Your emotions are there to help you. They were designed for survival. They are not your enemies. Even if you experience anxiety, you, my friend, sit with it, listen to it. And then, if you cannot control it and you want to take action like eating or smoking or whatever, do this. But every day, train yourself to sit with it and listen to it because it want to tell you something. Okay, it want to help you. And that's it. There are no monsters. That's it. That that's my last
Thank you,
advice.
Yasmin. So, if you are dealing with any kind of emotional situation, you can, of course, reach to Yassine Darkaoui. He can create personalized sound to help you regulate your emotions. And I put the link in the description. You can connect with him. He is very active on LinkedIn as well. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you are watching the replay, uh, make sure to ask your questions. I read all the comments and we will try to do another live to answer to your questions. Thank you so much. Take care
And you,
and
thank you.
see
Thank you
you
for what
in the
you're doing.
next
You and for inviting me and
next live or next video. See you
next life.
next time.
No, next life. Next life. Okay. Merci. See you.
See you.
Bye.